welcome back to Chaos Head Noah. Well, if our progress on the first few videos was any indication, we should probably be about halfway through Chapter 2 at this point. And things are starting to go down. We had a lot of fun stuff happen at the end of Chapter 1, which means we're probably in for some fun as we near the end of Chapter 2. We're starting to see some connections. We are now being hunted by Japanese Columbo, which basically means we're screwed, if you've ever seen the Columbo show. I have no idea what this guy's deal is, but after seeing Japanese Columbo, I now realize that I don't think I've ever wanted something as much in my life that I didn't know existed until I found out about it. And I'm prepared to declare him already the best character, not only in the game, but possibly in the entirety of fiction. But we are basically kind of, at this point, doing our research. We're still working off of what Yua has told us. We're looking at this possibility of sleepwalking and things, this precognitive stuff. We have developed an interest in this FES character, who might have a little precog ability of her own, as stuff about the events of New Gen are showing up in her lyrics. I also noticed something else that occurred to me as I was editing. I was wondering what the guy was talking about when he said he didn't sleep during episode 5, and I was theorizing, like, wait, does he mean he never sleeps? What's he talking about? I realized after the fact, it's like, oh, he means that he just wasn't asleep during these sleepwalking incidents. That's what he meant. So I was reading a little much into it. But I also am kind of curious what's up with that doctor and that nurse and such. He clearly told her to keep an eye on us. And I wonder what's going to happen with that quiz. I also wonder what's going to happen when we go back, because we're due to revisit in a week. And apparently Yua suspects us of having dissociative identity disorder, which could also be an explanation for what's happening. So, lots of stuff is moving. There's a lot of moving parts, because now that we're seeing who not only Japanese Columbo is, but also his partner, who has seen us and possibly recognizes us from a security tape, that may start to play in as well. So we may have to start dodging the police or have to answer some uncomfortable questions. Also, we've seen our first little magical weapon, FES just whipping around on stage like she don't even care. So what's up with that? I guess we'll find out. So, yeah, let's get into it. Ah, yes. We're back at this scene. I have a feeling we're on a new character, because we just skipped right to this. I'll tell you exactly what happened, unless we are our protag again, and he's stammering. Ah, never mind. We are our protag, and we're getting a new phone with our little sister, because it says right there. I reluctantly decided to go to school today, but before I knew it, I found myself going to buy a phone with my little sister. I'm sure you don't understand what I'm saying, but I don't really understand it either. I thought I was going insane. Hey, what are you mumbling about, big bro? Nanami? Is this just straight up exactly what it looks like it is? It is exactly what it looks like it is. Well, either way, I asked you what you think of this one, so what do you think? Why are we suddenly interested in a phone? Why is this, I thought he was actually happy to not have a phone when Yua was like, hey, give me your number. I wonder if, had we picked a delusion, might we have had a phone at that point? How much can we diverge, and how many divergences have we already missed? I don't know. I think I want to go home. Besides, how many times do I have to tell you that I don't need a cell phone? God, it hurts having a sister this brain dead. When I'd gone to school today, Nanami had made her assault right in my classroom after happily saying, wow, you actually came to school today. She'd ordered me to go out and buy a phone with her once school was over. So, we know Nanami is a year younger than us, so she must be a freshman. Because we're a second year, and we know you as a third year, so it makes sense that she would go to the same school we do. That checks. Once the bell rang, I tried to escape without her noticing, but I'd forgotten how quick Nanami was on her feet. Also, you get no exercise, aside from the 3 times you've run during this game. So after being chased and easily caught up to, I found myself being dragged all the way to the front of the station. I didn't want to go anywhere near the station, and I felt like that the whole way there. Even now, I already felt like I was going to throw up. Nanami, though, not giving a damn about what I felt, was busy admiring the many different models on display in the front of the store. I tried to wrap my head around why exactly Nanami was so insistent about getting me a phone, but I just got a headache instead. You're not here to get a phone, you're here to get a headache. Here, look at this one. Isn't it such a cute color? You should get this one. Since she was asking for my opinion, I gave a simple reply. That's fine, sure, whatever. Actually, it might be a bit too cutesy for you. It doesn't really fit you, you know? Let me go! I have gear to grind and stuff. See, it didn't even matter what I said. That would happen regardless. I completely lost track of how many times I'd said that's fine by this point. She would ask for my opinion, but she didn't actually intend to listen to it. This is exactly why 3D girls suck so much ass. Is everything okay, big bro? Oh, the crowd's getting to you. No, just one person in particular. How about we take a break at McDonald's? We're gonna get a McRob. McD, the fucking prime hangout spot for DQNs. That place was hell incarnate. I violently shook my head no. Gotcha! Well, hurry up, pick one out then. Problem is, I'm still mixed between this one and this one. It's not for you. I sighed, deciding to just leave Nanami behind and go home. While Nanami intensely examined the array of cell phones, I took my chance to slip away. Yeah, just buy me one and bring it by when you're done, okay? I'm good with this. Man, we actually escaped. Uh-oh. Right as I turned toward 107, I saw something so strange, it stopped me dead in my tracks. What was that? We also have a fourth murder that's been premonitioned. What about that? Uh-oh. Is this going to be a girl we know, or going to be a new one? Or is this going to be our next victim? Across the crowds of people, on the stairs to 107, stood a girl that stuck out like a sore thumb. Is it going to be Fess in her goth outfit? Oh, more magic weapons. Or is it Fess? Was she holding a sword? I almost wondered if nobody else could see the sword that Fess was whipping around. I don't know why she would whip it around if nobody else can see it. But for people to just hold these things out conspicuously, maybe it's just, I don't know. The color and aura it gave off felt somewhat similar to the mic stand Fess had been using at the concert. Aha, so it is a different girl. In fact, I'd say it was perfectly fair to think of them in the same vein. But even then, it was still one massive sword. People are just walking around with their anime swords. Damn. It might have been even longer than Fess's mic stand. When did we get ours? To my surprise, the girl was wearing a sumo uniform. Oh, is it going to be our murderer? I couldn't make out her face from this distance, but despite holding something so conspicuous, the girl seemed relaxed as could be. She simply watched the people walk down the street from atop the stairs. Talk about bravery, I was seriously impressed. Is it that girl we can actually see up there? I have a feeling that's just the stock image. But, I wonder if it is our murderer and we just can't tell from this distance. I couldn't believe she was walking around right smack in the middle of Shibuya with that massive toy sword. Must have had one hell of a humiliation fetish. Again, I don't think they can see it. I theorized this. Was the sword a cosplay prop from some new anime? Then again, I was pretty familiar with all the anime that was airing. I was about to say that. I feel like you would recognize the style of it. Was there really a series with a sword like that? Had it slipped under my radar? Of course, walking around Shibuya holding one would be too much for me, but the sword itself was, pretty damn cool. Kind of wanted to get one, honestly. Oh, you might. I wondered if I could get one in Akiba. Even better if I could order it online. Oh, she found you. And watch, she can't see the sword. I was suddenly struck with an elbow to the back. The pain almost made me black out and collapse on the spot. I turned around to find a Nanami with her hands on her hips, sullen as could be. Were you trying to run away from me? That obvious, eh? I know I took way too long to decide. I'm sorry for that, but that doesn't mean you can just go and leave me behind. Don't you realize how mean that is? Oh, you should have heard the way he was talking about you in his head in episode 2. Mean is nothing. I lazily shook my head from side to side. You big jerk! I hope your phone hits you with so many EM waves that you die of kidney failure. Hey, controversial statements. The fuck was her deal? Now I feel like an idiot for trying so hard to pick the right phone for you. Did we not make our feelings clear in episode 2? I don't want this. You literally had to ambush us to make us do it. So I'm not even going to try anymore. The same model as mine is good enough for a jerk like you. Nanami forcibly grabbed my arm. I'll make sure you sign the contract today if it's the last thing I do. And until that phone's in your hands, you're not going anywhere. How is this going to matter? I get it already. Let go of me. I want to go look at the cool sword again. Okay, then hurry up and move your butt. I didn't have a clue why Nanami had gotten so worked up. She really was a pain in the ass. I guess the girl is gone. In the end, Nanami picked out a model with ease, as if she hadn't just spent 10 years trying to choose. After spending about an hour on the contract and other technical stuff, I tried to finally head home with my phone, but Nanami stopped me. I'll set your phone up for you, so why don't we stop by McD's? Without waiting for a response, she grabbed me by the back of my collar and started dragging me to the nearest McD against my will. We're gonna have a blizzard. It even looks like a McDonald's. Knowing you, you'll just chuck your phone into a random corner of your room without even bothering to turn it on. Busted. So I'll make things nice and easy for you. God damn it, how much longer was she planning to hold me hostage? And of all the places she could have chosen to do it, why McD? The inside of the Shibuya McD was the embodiment of chaos. There were shitloads of people, and none of them ever shut the hell up. The sheer amount of DQNs was off the charts. I haven't been in a McDonald's in years, but I basically just consider it the Walmart of restaurants. At the table right next to us sat 3 DQN-tier mothers with dyed brown hair, and to make things even better, they'd brought their kids with them. They just let their children, 3 little crotch goblins with red highlights to be specific, to run around the restaurant squealing their heads off, and instead of controlling them, they just kept on chatting away. At a different table was yet another group of DQNs, this time made up of 4 high school guys, all laughing like obnoxious pricks. Next, 2 high school girls competing with baggy socks and dyed brown hair, complete with baggy socks and dyed brown hair, sat opposite to each other, hyper-focused on their phones. They didn't even bother talking. And beside them was a snoring middle-aged businessman slumped down on his table and making it pretty obvious that he was skipping out on work. But what really made me double take was this table close by with a group of 5 elementary schoolers, some boys, some girls. They all sat there with their little school bags on the floor, happily chatting it up with each other as their legs swung back and forth beneath the table. So, considering that it was co-ed, was it a mixer? It was, wasn't it? Weren't they elementary schoolers? Was this weird in Japan? Well, regardless, the point is that as far as the eye could see, there were groups of people that I avoided like the plague. Nanami had no problem at all relaxing in a place like this, of course. Me, on the other hand, just setting foot in here only served to make my headache and nausea 1,000 times worse. Like, why the hell did I have to play along with my sister and stay here in the first place? Hey, what are you going to do for your ringtone? Got anything in mind? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I've got like 3 Sarah sound bites on standby, ready to go. Without even looking in my direction, Nanami played around with my phone as she prodded me for an answer. Pick an anime song. Overruled. This is exactly why everyone calls you a nerd, big bro. Well, they call him a nerd because he's a nerd. I hate to break it to you. You're the one asking me which one I prefer. Come on, it's my phone. At least let me pick what I want. Make your email notification the strong bad voice. Oh, I know. How about we use the new Omura Carrera song? It's one of my jams. It's so good. Yeah, no, that's overruled. Yeah, I guess you're right. You're not really an Omura Carrera kind of guy anyway. After showing how little she actually cared about what I thought, Nanami took a bite of one of her french fries. I should probably mention that this bitch asked for a fish sandwich combo before dinner, one that I had to pay for. You're getting a free phone, guys. Shut up. I know you don't want it, but still. I, meanwhile, was feeling so garbage that my appetite was long gone. Piece of shit sister, spoiling her appetite and mine. Fucking bullshit. Oh yeah, aside from that, For whatever reason, Nanami placed her bag on her lap and started digging through its contents. What's up? Where'd I put it? Oh, here it is. Then she proudly took out... Uh-oh. Oh. A defective Gero Froggy? What makes it defective? It looks like every other one we've seen. It's not defective. It's the Googling Gero Froggy that came out last week. So it's got googly eyes. Delightful. The what? You don't know? You really do live under a rock. They release a new Gero Froggy every Friday. Damn! How many varieties are there? Jeez. Yu's bag should be just covered in them. Oh, never mind. They made 12. It's been around for 3 months. Whatever. They made 12 different ones so far. Seriously? Is there really enough demand for weekly releases? The one I have on my phone is the first one. The ordinary Gero Froggy. It's boring as shit. After that, there was the fatty Gero Froggy, then the rugged Gero Froggy. Without skipping a beat, Nanami recited the names of the various Gero Froggies. Fourth was the smooth Gero Froggy. Fifth was the shining Gero Froggy. And sixth was the most popular, the cat Gero Froggy. You can't criticize, man. You've got all your figure variants memorized too. You're no better. Then came the spooky Gero Froggy, the sleepy Gero Froggy. Ooh, I like that one. The burning Gero Froggy. Okay, maybe don't buy the one that's on fire. The zombie Gero Froggy, the drunk Gero Froggy. That seems like a bad influence on teenagers. How the hell should she remember all those? Hang on, did she... Have you collected all of them? Well, duh! There's no point if you don't collect them all. They're like Pokemon. Except it's just the same Pokemon over and over. That's why there's such a huge line to buy one every week. For a half-assed piece of garbage like that, to be honest, even I could shit out a better design. Wait, why did she even decide to start lecturing me on Gero Froggies to begin with? Okay, I'm gonna have to check after this stream. Can you buy these? Can you buy these? I need to know if you can buy these. I know it's just an inside joke for the series, but still. So yeah, I'm giving you this googling Gero Froggy. I guess it's more of a goggling Gero Froggy. Googly, goggling, whatever. Or pretend it's just really good at search engines. If you hang it on your phone, I bet you some of the girls at school will give you the googly eyes themselves. Heh. God, no. After saying that, Nanami started to put the strap on my phone. I don't want that. The fuck? There's no point if you don't collect them all, right? Wait, who said that? I think him. There's no point if you don't collect them all, right? So if you give me that, your collection won't be complete. Oh, I'm sure she has doubles. Oh, don't worry about that. I bought 2. Do you buy 2 every time, or... I was starting to seriously doubt her aesthetic taste. Nah, just this time. I bought an extra one for you and your phone, big bro. Aren't I just the best little sister ever? Purposely? Intentionally? Were you high at the time? Purposefully? Having now finished attaching the strap, Nanami gave a satisfied nod before wrapping her mouth around her soda straw. Then she suddenly leaned forward, startling me. Oh, there's a look. Although it's not like I stood in line just for you or anything. I just did it because I could, that's all. I don't want it. I'm throwing it out the moment we leave. Still leaning forward, Nanami opened her eyes wide. It looks like she might throttle me at any moment. You don't want it? Even though I purposefully went out of my way to buy it for you. You said you just did it because you could. Besides, I don't care about Gero Froggies. If anything, I think they look horrible. This is why you're not popular with girls, big bro. No, there's a list, okay? This is very low on that list. Like triple digits. I'd almost expected her to slap me, but surprisingly, Nanami managed to rein in her temper and sit back down. Then, instead of taking her anger out on me, she started nibbling on a fry instead as she sulked. Well, it's not like there's any point resisting. I've already put it on after all. I have scissors, lady. She sure was acting like the queen of everything. Then again, I knew jack shit about cell phones, so it was true that Nanami knew best here. And if you even think about taking off, you'll be the one standing in the weekly line. Got it? We'll see about that. Weekly line for what exactly? Hello? So you can buy the new Garo Froggy. The whole thing usually takes a couple hours. We will not be in line for any sort of Froggy, regardless of whether we take it off our phone. I wish to forget these things exist the moment we leave this restaurant. Not a chance in hell. No way was I going to let my little sister hit me with a threat like that. For a while after that, Nanami wordlessly continued to fiddle around with my phone. I wasn't particularly picky about whatever she was setting up, so I was honestly grateful for the silence. To be honest, this all feels kind of strange. The next time she opened her mouth, her sullen demeanor from before had completely disappeared. I guess she only needed a few minutes to forget annoying shit instead of having to sleep it off. Talk about easygoing, in a way I envied her. Yep, it really is strange. It feels like we haven't gone out like this in forever, big bro, because we haven't. Shut in, remember? I wonder when the last time we did something like this was. I actually can't remember. You're always cooped up in your room watching anime and playing games, so I guess it only makes sense. But yeah, doing this every once in a while is nice. Gotta shake things up, you know? No. Let me find the Magic Sword store. Let me go there. I'm interested in that now. It'd definitely suck doing this every day, though, even for me. You enjoying your big muck? Nanami placed my phone on the table and picked up her fish sandwich. Oh, never mind. It's a McFoosh. She happily undid the wrapping, then heartily sank her teeth in. There are M's on the wrapper. Come to think of it, I feel like she said at one point that the fish sandwich here was her favorite food. Have fun getting fat, cow. There's no way you said that loud enough for her to hear, you coward. Oh, maybe not. Nanami instantly stopped moving. She glared at me menacingly. Uh-oh. Then, after hesitating for a second, she bashfully held out her half-eaten fish sandwich. Want the other half? That's more than half, lady. You're already too late there. What's with the chuny attitude all of a sudden? Saying stuff like that'll make all the girls hate you. You better keep that in mind, you big jerk. Okay, so he's just gone into Judy mode because he's bored or something. Nanami ended up finishing the fish sandwich all on her own. What a fucking fat ass. She is not fat. Okay? Some people have really good metabolisms at that age. Also, there's a homeless guy just chilling there. No, not even homeless, just end of times guy. Judgment something. After that, Nanami held me hostage with hours of useless chatter, and by the time I finally had my phone back, it was already dark. It had been a long, painful few hours, but eventually I was able to get away from Nanami and start heading back home. Are we going to run on that girl again? Fall seemed to be in full swing now, with the night breeze carrying a slight chill, one that soothed my headache and nausea. Those two things never failed to torment me whenever I spent a long time in crowds. Honestly, Nanami, kill yourself. Okay, don't actually, but still, kill yourself. She only ever thought about herself. She probably didn't even have a clue about how much torture she constantly inflicted on me. If I had the option, I'd love to snap my new phone cleanly in half right now and throw it into the nearest trash can. It wasn't like I bought it with my own money, after all. But if I actually did that, it wouldn't just be Nanami that had come to my base, but my parents, too. And then without picking up on a damn thing, they just go, "Oh, since it broke on you, let's go buy you a new one," like the idiots they were. Thus, I reluctantly suppressed my urges to smash the damn thing. I needed to get home and quickly. I could hear another night of ESO calling my name. I just finished doing my Guild Wars 2 dailies before this recording. Not a single day had passed recently that hadn't filled me with endless anxiety. I really hoped my peaceful everyday life would hurry up and come back already. I have a feeling you're shit out of luck there, buddy. In fact, you might be shit out of luck within the next, 60 seconds. Let's see. Well, there you go. Is this going to be something that's reflected by the lyrics from the song? On that night, another grotesque case occurred. The fourth new-gen case. Was it a full moon? Presumably, it was a woman, a girl. I forget the other details in the lyrics. Like always, Grim laid out the details to me while I was playing ESO. Okay. Type it up. Sup, Grim? A bit later than usual today, eh? Wait, what? Oh, that switched over quick. Grim just said, "Whose eyes are those eyes?" and our character just went, "What?" and looked over at another screen. I barely read that. You want to repeat that? It's got to have something to do with the new murder, I'm guessing. Like someone wrote it in blood on the wall, and he's just copycatting it to us, not realizing the personal significance. Or are we going to look back and it turns out he said something else? I couldn't believe my eyes. Why did Grim know that phrase? I was completely taken aback. My fingers trembled on the keyboard. I didn't even know where to start with responding. Hell, even just looking at what he typed nearly took everything out of me. The fourth new gen case happened. Been following the shitstorm this whole time. Things be really heating up in Shibuya. This is seriously fucking crazy, dude, lol. The victim's corpse had all the blood completely drained out. The hell? They found them dead in the Inokashira station bathroom, and the corpse was really something. That's a sentence you don't hear often. The skin had turned green all over. Freaky. Seriously goddamn freaky. Lately, even started thinking that the occult theories themselves might be true, and I missed that last line. I bit my lip as I watched the messages flow. They just kept going. My imagination came very close to forming an image, but I was just barely able to keep that delusion at bay. I took a gulp of cola from the bottle to calm myself down. Damn that Grim. He had to be ambushing me like this on purpose. There's no way a person could do this. Okay, that was the last line. No reaction? What's up, Neidhart? How do you know so much about it? Also, where do you know that term from? You're talking almost like you were there. Well, something like that. Also, I guess you're still not interested in this stuff, Neidhart. New gen and all that jazz. Not enough to follow it. Too busy grinding in ESO. Never change, oh lightning-fast Neidhart. A true video game addict that puts the rest of us to shame. That's why we love you. That's why we admire you. Oh, I remember that reference. That was also a reference in Steins Gate. Daru said it, I think. I didn't really want to talk about New Gen, so I somehow managed to fool Grim into bringing the topic to an end. No. Why did he make that comment? Why did he say, "Whose eyes are those eyes?" By the way, took a look at this. Yep, here we go. Stuff an image of my face. What do you think? I'm sensing some serious bait. Last time he'd done this, he'd acted like it was some gory shit, only for me some random dumbass meme. Yeah, wasn't it something he scribbled in 2 minutes or something? It was some stupid drawing. This time could very well be the opposite. Huh, you seriously don't know about it? You underestimate our shut-in powers. About what? Are you actually a wrong-sider, Neidhart? Fuck off. Fine, what is it? What if I said it's related to your precious serotan? That sounds like bait. For real? Oh, then I had to look. As far as I could tell, the URL looked like it was linking to some auction page, so it probably wouldn't crash my browser or hit me with anything mentally scarring. Slightly excited, I opened the link. Boy, Grim knows how to push his buttons. All right, what are we going to see? What the hell? What's this got to do with anything? We did get a little pamphlet or something when we were walking through Shibuya Scramble. Those folks who were handing out little pamphlets about blood donations or being in short supply or whatever. I forget the details of that. It was the red pamphlet with the white lettering on it. But, yeah. Nippon Taboo, definitely not Yahoo, auctions. Type B blood in short supply. What's this got to do with the fourth incident? I felt like I'd seen that somewhere before. It might have been deja vu again. Nope. It's exactly where Psy'Min Sezz. Anyway, more importantly, where'd that fap-worthy serotan pick? I spun my mouse wheel and scrolled down the page. Yeah, I don't give a damn about anything, but yeah. Where is it? You promised me. Oh, that's a thing. Well, I saw that. That was brief, but it was there. Why would that be on that site? That makes no sense. I could tell at a glance that the image that came up on my monitor was obviously gore. Yeah, I didn't see a whole lot of Serotan there, I gotta tell you. I gotta be honest. I averted my gaze to my left monitor in a panic, then quickly closed the browser. Settle down. The gore had only been on my screen for less than 3 seconds, and the time I spent actually looking at it was even less than that, but even so, hey, 3 seconds is a while. It's a picture of the corpse from the 4th New Gen case, from before the mass media started reporting on it. It's being sold on an auction like it's totally normal. Oh, that's why it's there. It's like they're putting a price on the victim's tragic state itself, so basically the seller is 100% the New Gen culprit. Isn't that insane? The seller's name is Vampbuyer. Well, actually it's probably just some throwaway. Even so, this has already caused a total shitstorm online. Been posted all over, tons of image boards. There's even memes. It's like Rule 34. People do this shit way too fast, lol. Oh yeah, did you notice the dying message in the image? I did not. It was there for less than 3 seconds, I assure you. Dying message? Show me again, show me again. Don't make me rewind my own video. It's written on the wall with the victim's blood. Still can't believe it's there. The culprit probably did it for shits and giggles. Hello? Neidhart-san, you alive? Is your comp frozen? Dying message. Is that going to be Whose Eyes Are Those Eyes? Is that why Grimm brought that up? I'd only seen the image for an instant, considerably less than 3 seconds, and yet... This is a game. It can't be real. This world can't be real. This has to be a game world. Oh! I'll bet it's exactly that, isn't it? The victim's last message, written sloppily in deep red blood, had been burned into my mind. Show me, show me, show me. No matter how many times I tried not to think about it, the letters rose by one on my closed eyelids, urging me to realize them. Whose eyes are those eyes? Yep. How is that phrase there? So now everybody knows it. It's public knowledge. Boom. Meme time. I knew those words all too well, words I often muttered to myself. Words I asked nobody in particular, the words Grimm had first said when I jumped onto ESO, so that's why he said it, as I thought. It was like they were everywhere now. Those words that I had never actually said to anyone throughout my entire life. I was wondering, I didn't mention this in my theory crafting, but it was a thought that occurred to me, if our boy here, if Takumi is actually is having dissociative personality disorder, identity disorder, if he is doing things he's not remembering, not only is he maybe doing things, he might have even been the one that wrote Whose Eyes Are Those Eyes on the blackboard way back in episode 1. That would make sense. So I kind of wonder if there's space and time for him to be doing certain things like this. Because he is in Shibuya, but that'll have to be elaborated on later. Oh, there it is. Oh, Chapter 2's done. Chapter 3, Shogun. Oh, that's interesting. I thought Shogun was us. Oh, we still got time. That was a short episode compared to the first one, I think. Let's see. I know that chapter was called Click Me. I was waiting for the reference to Click Me. I'm not sure what I was supposed to be clicking, other than the fact that I've been doing nothing but clicking, but anyway. But yeah, 4 murders now, and this one's a weird one. Late night Shibuya, 4 a.m. Despite being named the city that never sleeps, very few people were currently present at its most popular location, Scramble Crossing. Yep. Wasn't this where we saw the girl? I wonder if it actually is going to be the murderer. It's going to be the girl we saw during the 3rd murder. And that's why she was there, because, you know, it was murder time. Instead, many taxis were parked in their place, ready to carry away the drunks unwilling to wait for the first train of the morning. A generous amount of the drivers were reclining in their seats, napping. The more diligent drivers leaned against their steering wheels as their eyes stared idly toward the hot spots, the most frequent one being Center Guy and the 107 building. However, they were not trying to ascertain whether or not any of the passers-by were potential customers. Instead, they focused intently on the movements of the sanitation workers who had arrived about 30 minutes earlier to clean up the mess. The 5 to 6 men who thought to be sanitation workers due to their yellow armbands, each of which had sanitation reporter written on them. It was very likely that without the armbands, no one would have recognized them as such, for there was something particularly odd about the men. They were all wearing black suits. Oh, is our guy from when we were a kid, the guy who was hanging out in the doctor's office in the background, is he going to be someone we actually find out about? Furthermore, ever since their arrival, they had yet to show any signs of cleaning at all. They've just got some armbands and they're standing there. Oh. Instead, one man held a strange instrument resembling a pendulum. I have those. And the surrounding men appeared to be measuring something. Are they like dowsing? They're doing spiritual stuff? They're doing an exorcism? This was not restricted to just the one area. From the center of Scramble Crossing to the very edge of it, they left no spot untouched, writing all their findings down on various scraps of paper. Even now, they were taking measurements from directly beneath the traffic signals, silently observing the movements of the pendulum. At last, the instrument let out a small chime. Oh, interesting. Okay, I don't think Japanese Colombo was with these guys. Location L28, 0.62 Mega GE. The highest score yet. It's risen 38 points higher than last month, just as expected. They're measuring something. Cultists? But there was no one present in the early morning Shibuya to pay attention to the odd mumbling and behavior. I wonder if the black suit that was there when we were getting checked out as a kid was there because they were investigating things like paranormal behavior, i.e. our precognition, and now these guys are also basically, some cross between Agent Smith and the Ghostbusters. The taxi drivers would speed off as soon as patrons boarded their cars, quickly forgetting about the mysterious sanitation workers. The drunks were hardly conscious, leaving them unable to see anything around them to begin with. Female nightlife workers, who had just clocked out, finally free from the stress of smiling at repulsive drunkards, jumped into taxis to get home as soon as possible. Thus, not a single person was around to notice that the government had not scheduled any plans whatsoever for cleaning to take place that morning. And we're just going to leave it at that. Little interludes at the beginning of chapters. The beginning of the second chapter was our kind of flashback to the bus incident, and now we've got this. Vampbuyer. That's what we're calling it. These are some not very tasteful emojis for what's going on here. Even after the weekend had passed, the uproar brought on by the fourth new-gen case, now dubbed the Vampbuyer incident, hadn't even come close to calming down. Was it a full moon? Are we going to remember those lyrics? A man's corpse had been found with all of its blood taken out of it, leaving the surface of the body a sickly, inhuman shade of green. It had been discovered in a bathroom at Shibuya Station, part of the Onikashira line. Onikashira. In addition, it was uncovered that a photograph of the corpse had been posted to an online auction, and considering the abnormality and brutality of the murder, it was inevitable that both the mass media and @Channel jumped on it. Special attention had been paid to the headline of the auction page, which read, "Type B blood in short supply." Well, it is for someone. Tissue packs advertising an upcoming blood drive had been handed out in large quantities in front of Shibuya Station a few days prior to the incident, and the exact same message had been written on them. I had one of those tissue packs on hand. Yeah, exactly. Reading back over it again now, the insanely strange words didn't read like an ad for a blood drive anymore. They read like some kind of advanced message of the crime. The police had supposedly been searching for the part-timers handing out the tissue packs, but they had yet to find any of them. Was it the guys in the black suits again? However, there was one area where the Vampbuyer differed pretty heavily from the previous cases. While there had already been elements of it in the crucifixion case, the intent for it to be a theatrical crime was much more obvious with this one. I mean, it was pretty extreme. a few media outlets have begun clamoring for increased police presence via patrols, or for a late-night curfew for people under 18. But the number of young people visiting the city showed no signs of declining. They were just as packed as usual, with people flooding every nook and cranny of Center Guy and Scramble Crossing. The internet was so thirsty for news, a group of people trying to be Snake had snuck into Shibuya late at night to post live updates. I missed the tip about Snake. Who is Snake supposed to be? Trying to be Snake. Had snuck into Shibuya to post live updates, and there had also been a phrase that was trending among the city's younger population. Whose eyes are those eyes? Yep. Well, that's, look forward to seeing that everywhere. It wasn't just online either. That phrase had penetrated the ranks of each and every DQN walking around Shibuya. On @channel, it had become common practice to tack the phrase onto anything, regardless if it was related or not. This week's episode of Blood Tune won't have much Serotan, whose eyes are those eyes. The new patch's weapons are so weak they're actually unstable, whose eyes are those eyes. What whose eyes are those eyes is that from? And so on. And then there's me going into McDonald's and going, whose fries are those fries? Yoink. To people my age, New Gen was probably just something new and exciting to follow, the newest shit show to obsess over. But to me, it was the most aggravating thing ever. Yeah, this must be really annoying. Regardless, a whole 3 days had passed since the Vampbuyer case, so I'd been able to calm down a bit. Of course, there was still a nagging uneasiness in the corner of my mind, but by losing myself in ESO over the weekend, I've been able to temporarily forget all about that irritating, inexplicable garbage. Even though I'd had to go to school today, I'd been able to get through my classes by either sleeping through them or thinking about the stats and frame data of ESO's rarest items. I guess I'd leveled up a bit. You expect me to focus on school when I'm at school? Pah! Oh, and we're back at Cafe. And so, on my way home from school, I stopped by at Cafe for the first time in a while. It made me happy to see that the room I usually used, room 37, was vacant and ready for me. Are we going to get messages from Shogun then? No, it wouldn't be that we only get them when we're here, because we've been here a lot. I'm surprised Yua is leaving us alone, especially with a new murder. The last time I'd set foot in it was at least 2 weeks ago, meaning that this was the longest gap I'd ever had between visits. The sour breeze flowing from the air conditioning, the manga stained with the smell of tobacco. How comfortable it was to sit back in the recliner. The snores of old men cutting through the silent, still air. Well, that's one form of ASMR. You're welcome to it. It all provided the store's interior with an aura of pure nostalgia. Oh, hello, Yua. I inspected the chat logs on Room 37's PC. Yeah, we haven't been back here since then, have we? We may want to try that. And that's when I realized both members of that chat log were you. This Shogun. This chapter is called Shogun. Are we going to find out Shogun is an alternate personality? Somewhat Neidhartish, possibly? Or is there some other explanation? This Shogun is you. I hadn't seen Yua since then. We were in different grades, and I didn't go to school that often, so it made sense why we hadn't come across each other. Yua's got some incredible delusions. I don't know. You're sitting in front of the computer. I have a feeling you're about to find out something. I couldn't help but pity her. She was clearly sick in the head. I'd be better off just leaving her be. Besides, meeting her at all had been a freak accident. It was not. She followed you for a day. Over the past 2 weeks or so, I'd been dragged into all sorts of random bullshit. Before then, my everyday life had been completely vanilla, and Mizumi-kun was pretty much the only one who talked to me. So why was it that basically nothing but weird, inexplicable bullshit had been happening to me recently? You're an anime protag. Enjoy! I wanted to avoid thinking about that garbage as much as humanly possible. That dying message had to be just a coincidence. That's a hell of a coincidence, my boy. The words were all pretty common after all. Oh, were they? And in that order. If I'd thought of it, there was no reason someone else wouldn't have been able to as well. I had no interest in who that message was aimed at. No, I couldn't be interested. That's what I told myself anyhow. I feel like someone is trying to get your attention. Oh my god! A phone call! His first ever. Suddenly something started ringing nearby. It's a mystery. I jolted up in surprise and a shudder ran through my recliner as I stayed rooted in... or ran through me as I stayed rooted in my recliner. It was the sound of a phone ringing, but whose was it? Because the store was so quiet, the electronic sound rang out all the louder. I looked around, but I couldn't locate a phone anywhere. Wait, maybe it's... mine? A thought came to mind, and I fished around in my bag. Sure enough, the ringing was coming from the cell phone I'd bought just a few days ago, so if it's not Nanami, who the hell else would have gotten our number? I glanced warily at the LCD display. Normally, the caller's name would be displayed there. No. Was it a good idea to answer? I didn't like talking to people that much, so probably not. Who the hell was calling me, anyway? I hadn't told anyone my phone number yet, exactly. The only people who knew it even existed were my family, with Nanami's nosy ass making sure to put them in my address book. When one of the people registered my address book called, their name should display, meaning that whoever was calling wasn't a family member. So who was this? We established during the taxi incident that Takumi's parents probably also have some sort of precognitive abilities. What if they got this phone because they knew somebody was going to need to call or something, or... Our boy's being set up with the best of intentions, and possibly actual good intentions. But who is this? The phone kept on ringing persistently. You guys getting annoyed by that yet? Did people who had phones usually force people to listen to the ringing for this long? I'd never used one of them before, so I wouldn't know, but it was incredibly annoying. To suddenly invade someone's privacy like this, cursing them with an obnoxious ringing until they picked up. Hey, you have the option to change the ringtone. Make it a Saratan song or something. A socially acceptable way to invade someone's privacy. That was exactly why I didn't want one of these stupid things. Oh, it stopped. Relieved, I checked the screen again. We get a message? Missed calls 1 was displayed on it. I had no interest in returning this rando's call, so I decided to leave it be. It'd be a pain in the ass if this happened again in the future, so I should really figure out how to set up my voicemail. Oh, never mind, you can't get a message. Cell phones were such a pain in the ass. I didn't even like phones to begin with. I mean, come on, they were freaky as hell. How exactly were you supposed to know if the person you were talking to on the other end was the actual person you thought it was? With how prevalent fraud was nowadays, were people actually taking the proper measures to make sure they were talking to the right people? Here we go again with the crazy stuff. I couldn't help but wonder how people would be able to calmly have a conversation with someone who might be an impersonator. Even if I understood the gist of how it worked, it was hard to believe that my voice could somehow reach distant places through a phone line. It's wireless. There's no line. When you talk on the phone, your voice is temporarily converted into electronic signals. Do I need this lecture? They pass through the phone lines until they reach the recipient, where they are then restored back to normal, and that's where they become audible. Witchcraft, basically. In order to talk on the phone, you need to go through this conversation process at least twice. With a cell phone, your voice is first converted into electric signals. Is this going somewhere? Then it travels to a nearby base station via radio waves, which are then run through normal phone lines to the switching station, then to the closest base station to the recipient, before finally arriving at their cell phone right afterwards. Okay, so there's a wire involved in there somewhere. I'll give you that. It was a bizarre, complicated process, so why are we talking about it? If my voice was replaced by electrical signals, could the other party really hear my voice word for word exactly as I'd sent it? In fact, wasn't it possible that in the conversion process, my voice and my words could be transformed into something completely different? For instance, if I called Nanami, what are we setting up right now? But instead of connecting to her, it connected me to some strange, shady facility. And there I would end up talking to someone I had never met who was only pretending to be Nanami. Maybe they wouldn't even be a person, but a computer instead. That's why the big reason why phone calls freaked me out so much. They were even scarier than talking to someone face to face. Is it going to start ringing again? Nope. We're just going to give a little speech and then take off. When I'd logged into ESO as Lisa Lotte, as was often the case, 3 hours passed by in the blink of an eye. It had been 2 weeks since I'd last used her, but she made for a pretty good support, so I was feeling pretty satisfied. Again, I mean, the chapter is called Shogun. Are we going to end up with a message? Maybe Shogun was calling us from the future. That'd be interesting. We didn't recognize the number because it was our number. Dun dun dun. I left At Cafe in a good mood and started heading home. Center Guy was as packed and noisy as usual, which irritated me, like everything irritates me because I'm irritable. The bright lights illuminating the streets from the various shops made it hard to believe that it was nighttime. And at the end of the well-lit road, despite the crowds, I clearly saw her, causing me to stop dead in my tracks. Okay, it's going to be Yua, it's going to be the murderer, or it's going to be the girl that we saw at the top of the stairs, which also might be the murderer. Or Fess. That one girl. Oh! Oh, okay, I wasn't expecting her, so it's the angry girl from the school hallway. But, yeah. That ain't no mic stand. Of course, the other thing wasn't a mic stand either. Just kind of standing there with a giant anime sword. Sure, why not? In the midst of so many people, she glared directly at me. Why did everyone want to get up in my shit? Right smack in the middle of Center Guy, where people were coming and going without reprieve, where it was difficult to even walk straight, she stood still, resting the gigantic sword she carried on her shoulder. Yeah, what is with this Halo nonsense? The spectacle was completely absurd. And yet no one paid her sword any mind. The stream of people flowing right past her with no change in demeanor. She was the girl I'd seen at 107. Yeah, alright. She had been there when Nanami was dragging me around to buy a cell phone. The shape of her sword, her Sume uniform, her long black hair, everything matched perfectly. Back then she had been standing at the top of the stairs in front of 107, watching the passers-by come and go. And was she looking for you? I remembered the sharpness of her glare. I had met her once before at school. Yep, like Psy'Min Sezz. She had those almond-shaped eyes and clean-cut model-like features, and yet they only served to make her seem all the more unapproachable. And it was all capped off by that long, silky black hair that stretched all the way down to her waist. She was Girl B, the one who had so rudely probed me in the corridors after school one day, asking me who I was. Come to think of it, why was she glaring at me? Thinking maybe it wasn't me she was looking at, I turned around. Usually when something like this happened, more often than not, they were just looking at someone who happened to be behind me, but that wasn't the case here. The one she was glaring at, her gaze filled with intense hostility, had to be me. I froze. I knew now what it felt like to be someone's prey. Glaring back was out of the question. I was always terrible at looking people in the eyes, so I couldn't help but stare down at the pavement. I should run. Yeah, this woman is glaring at you angrily with a weapon. You shouldn't be here. Normally I'd go home by taking a left at Scramble Crossing, where she was standing, and then I would end up next to Book Fat. Book Fat? Book Fat. Okay, sure. I don't get that reference. Book Fat. But today I headed for the station instead. There were a lot of people there, but I'd rather that than deal with some scary 3D girl harassing me. Hell, she might even try to mug me. Or maybe she was only feigning being alone and she actually had several DQNs lurking nearby, waiting for her to lure me in so they could beat the shit out of me. To be honest, they'd probably one-shot me. They probably would. Like I'd fall for that. I swiveled to the right, only to be completely caught off guard. Someone else is standing there. It's going to be Fess with her mic stand. Oh, she's fast.
Oh. Huh?
What the hell? Somehow the girl was right in front of me. Flustered, I turned back around to look at Scramble Crossing. She was no longer there. I looked in front of me once again. The girl with the sword was still glaring at me just as she had been before. She's in your eyeball, dude. What the hell? When did she get around me? Legs could only move so fast. That was practically teleportation. And besides, how could she have predicted that I'd turn around in the first place?
Oi.
Hey, you. Yeah, you. Her voice reached my ears with extreme clarity. I frantically looked around me. I wanted to think she was talking to someone else, even though I already knew full well who she was talking to. I searched for anyone else she could be directing that "hey you" toward. So this girl's looking for us. The murderer was looking for us because she said so. Fess picked us out of a crowd. Something about our boy. And, curious what that is. But obviously there was no one. A number of businessmen walking by glanced at Girl B inquisitively, only to realize she wasn't talking to them and walked away. Girl B, who had been standing there imposingly the entire time, took a sudden step toward me. That was all the confirmation I needed. Girl B had been targeting me all along. It's stabbing time. Oh, it really is stabbing time. Damn. Yeah, okay, so it is a question of being able to see it or not being able to see it. I'm talking to you. Do you see it? Rude as ever, in my 17 years of life, I could probably count the number of times a girl had talked to me like this on one hand. Well, I guess there were times when Kiramiya Tsubaki, a.k.a. Tsunko, had talked to me like that. Schoolmate? New name. But it was in a tsundere kind of way. Granted, Tsunko was just a 2D character from the Eroge Tell-Me doll. Never mind, voice in his head. Remember, guys, perfectly sane. Whoa, hey, no, that is now in my torso. Girl B kept getting closer and closer as those stupid thoughts raced through my head. Why does she feel so intimidating, even though she's a girl? Because she has a giant fuck you sword? But the reasons were simple. The sharp look in her eyes and, yeah, the gigantic sword she was carrying. I feel like that's contributing. For a sword, it had a fairly unique shape. It was the kind of thing that operated on anime logic. It had an awesome design, but if you actually used it in real life, it'd be completely unusable. It had to be from some mecha anime. Have there been any mecha anime that started airing recently? Even though I knew it was a prop from some random anime cosplay, I doubt it is. It still looked incredibly sharp and solid. Like, if you even so much as touched it, it would slice your fingers clean off. What a strange sword. I asked you if you can see it. Girl B had already cut the distance between us by 2 meters. If she swung her sword, it would hit me. Flustered, I took a step back, but it was too late. Girl B closed the distance further and further. Whoa! That was a slash, and I have a choice. She'd actually swung the sword. I'm starting to look for consistent, I don't know, similarities, patterns, something like that in these events that come up with the delusions. I still don't know what I should be doing here. Is it a question of me accepting that girls are running around with giant anime swords that nobody else can see, or me deciding, nope, that's crazy talk, I didn't see that, that's nonsense. Cowering on the spot, I covered my head. If I hadn't dodged it, it would have hit my head for sure. I doubted it would have cut me, but with that kind of force behind it, it would have given me a concussion and permanently dented my skull. Well, you've confirmed to her that you can see it. I hated pain! Pain sucks! What the hell are you doing? I was so shaken that my speech got all messed up. Hey, CG. Girl B looked down at me coldly. This chick wasn't normal, waving a sword around in the middle of a crowd. Wait, was she in the midst of a hit and run? Was she a spree killer? Could she be the new-gen culprit? Or the demon girl's accomplice? Help! Yeah, I feel like other people should be paying more attention to this, assault/abuse here. Don't kill me! The next thing I knew, I was trembling. I felt like I was this close to pissing myself out of sheer terror. What don't you understand? I'm only asking if you can see it. What the hell is she talking about? If I said I couldn't see it, would she kill me? How was I supposed to answer if I didn't even know what I was supposed to be seeing? Calm down. I'll ask again. This sword, this DI sword, this die sword, can you see it? Huh? Die sword? D sword? DI sword? It was the first time I'd ever heard that word. Dissociative identity sword? That's the only other place we've seen that abbreviation. It was the first time I'd ever heard that word. It had to be referring to the sword she was holding, but I decided to just nod. I mean, I obviously could see it. There'd be something wrong with me if I couldn't. Lugging around a sword that large and conspicuous, an in-center guy no less, I'd be willing to accept it if this was Akiba, but in Shibuya of all places?
そうか。
I see.
お前も集められた。
So you two have been gathered. Gathered. I said, what? Gathered? Who? And by who? At the very least, I was definitely here voluntarily.
エラーを見たことがあるか。
Have you seen an error before? An error? In Japanese, please. Was what I wanted to say, but unsurprisingly, I wasn't brave enough. Completely unsurprisingly. Then again, if I said the wrong thing, she'd probably stab me, so... Regardless, this chick had been spouting nothing but nonsense ever since she'd first opened her mouth.
見たら教えろ。
Tell me if you see one. And then she just leaves? How are we supposed to know what an error is? The closest thing I can think of to an error is us getting those chat logs on the wrong day. That seems like an error. After she said that, Girl B turned around. Her skirt fluttered in the breeze, and I could almost see her panties. Is this the thing to be focusing on? My dude! Pay attention. I hurriedly shut my eyes.
私は
Ah,
3年の青い
we
さん。
have a name. I'm Aoi Senna, a third year.
駅前の電車に
You'll find me on the train in front of the station. Are we to chat? I opened my eyes. The girl calling herself Senna had vanished, so apparently she can flash step. I was completely stunned, and it wasn't until I arrived back at my base that I realized that I hadn't understood a single goddamn word she'd said. So we didn't meet her at the train station. We said, fuck this. That's enough reality for one day. Out of here. Yep, back here. I'm buying extra padlocks. Despite everything going on, I had to go to school 3 times this week. Somebody kill me. Ba-dip. Who is screaming? Why are they screaming? What are they screaming about? Is this a new character? Do we know them? You don't get to find out until next episode, because we are done. So, yeah, things are chugging along. Chapter 2 is actually quite brief. But this chapter is called Shogun, so I'm sure we're going to get some more revelations about that coming up. In the meantime, yeah, giant anime swords. Nobody else can see them. That's a thing. Why is it a thing? What is gathering? What the frick is going on? I am curious, and I hope you are too, so I will see you next time. Take care. I hope you enjoyed the episode. I hope you're enjoying the entire Let's Play. And I will see you next time. Make sure you're subscribing, clicking all the things, blah, blah, blah. I'm out. See ya. Bye. Have a great week. Toodles.